Welcome student, my name is Nikhil and today we are going to see the new chapter that is definite integral. Okay, before this chapter we have already gone through the chapter indefinite integral. Okay, indefinite के बाद we have to see the new chapter that is definite integral. Now, what is the fundamental difference between the indefinite integral and definite integral? Okay, so in indefinite integral chapter, it means in previous chapter we have seen so many formulas, we have seen so many methods, we have seen so many special type of integral, and if you observe solution of every example or every integral function, when you find out their final solution, we always write plus c for integral constant. Okay, because we don't know what is the value of that constant number, so we write c for integral constant in every solution, right? That's why that c is always unknown, so that's why we call that solution of indefinite integral. Okay, but now in this chapter we will find out the exact answer. Exact answer means you will get exact solution for the given integral function. So if you are getting exact solution, so there is no need to write plus c, or you don't need to add that c in the final solution, because your final answer would be in terms of constant term, so you no need to write that c in the final solution. Okay, so how to find that integral or how to find out the exact solution of the integral function, that we are going to see in this chapter today. Okay, so first let's start with the basic concept of this chapter. Baki all the formulas from the previous chapter and these formulas in this chapter are almost same. There is no change, but in this chapter we have few additional formulae that also we have to use. Okay, so let's start with the chapter definite integral. Okay. So in definite integral we will see what is the use or how we can find out the definite answer of the given function. Okay. See, suppose you have function a to b f of x dx, and if you find out the integral of f of x, suppose that integral of f of x is g of x, like this, and this a is called lower limit and b is called lower limit. It means what? How to read this? Integral a to b f of x dx. I found out the integral of f of x, that is g of x. Then what is the use of this a and b? This a and b are lying on the x-axis. Okay, it means if you observe this in geometrical situation, suppose this is any curve. Okay, we call it y equal to f of x, like this. Okay, and you are finding the area. Integral, as I told you, you can use area. Sorry, integral to find out the area between the boundary point. So your x equal to a point is this, and x equal to b point is this, and they ask you to find out the area of this. Okay. So by doing integration, you can find out. Okay. So a and b are lying on the x-axis. That's why this a and b denotes the value of a. Sorry. A and b denotes the value of x. Okay. Integral of f of x I got g of x. Then a and b I have written as the upper limit and lower limit. B is called upper limit. This a is called lower limit. Okay. So how to calculate this? This value of x we have to replace by b and a. So you will write it g of b minus g of a. You have to write minus sign, upper limit minus lower limit, and this you have to calculate, right? A and b will be any number, that is depends on example, right? So we have to put the value of b and a for this x and you have to calculate it. Okay? So this is the fundamental or basic idea or basic difference between the previous chapter indefinite integral and this definite integral. In the previous chapter this lower limit and upper limit was not given, but in this chapter lower and upper limit will be always provided. So you have to put the value of upper and lower limit in the integral in this, after first find out the integral, then put value of a and b there. Okay. Now, suppose second rule. Suppose we have a to b f of x plus g of x dx. Okay, integral a to b f of x plus g of x dx. Now, this integral is applicable for both the terms, right? So you can integrate them separately. A to b f of x dx plus a to b g of x dx, like that. You can integrate them separate, and you have to put the b and a, upper limit minus lower limit, in both the set functions separately. Okay, then third. These are formula. Okay, these are formulas. Suppose you have a to c f of x dx. So you can split that a to c like a to b f of x dx plus b to c f of x dx. See, a is lower limit and c is upper limit. Sometimes you will get limit like that, upper and lower limit, that you cannot find out their integration directly. So what we can do here, we can split the a and c into two parts. B is the middle part between, or middle number between a and c. If you want, you can write the condition a less than b less than c. It means b is line between a and c. So a to b f of x plus b to c f of x. Okay? Then number 4. Sorry, here if you take plus or minus, that doesn't matter. If it is minus, then you put minus. If it is plus, then it is plus. Then okay. Suppose you have lower limit a and upper limit a for the function f of x, then their answer is always 0. Because if you find out the integral of f of x, suppose it is g of x, then upper limit will put 1, sorry, upper limit will put a, lower limit also will put a. So upper minus lower, a is same, so your answer is always 0, right? But in exam also, or in our textbook also, there is no such example where you have lower and upper limit same. It will never same. Okay? You will never get example when lower and upper limit are same. Next, suppose we have like this a to b k f of x dx. K is function, take outside. Baki you can simplify it further by our regular method. Okay? See, I have never added c in any function. Here also I did not add c here. Okay? So these are basic formula. There are remaining formula also. We know that integration of e raised to x is e raised to x. Then integration of x raised to n is x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. That all the formula I am not going to take again, because in the previous chapter we have already gone through all these formulas. Now we just use that formula to simplify the example. Okay? So in this chapter our main focus is to find the integral first, and then we have to put the upper and lower limit in the solution. Okay? First find out the integral and then put your upper and lower integral. Okay? So these are the formula that we will need in this chapter. Okay? Hello students. Now let's see the example that how to simplify this integral function. So first example is integral 1 to 9 x plus 1 upon root x. Now you can see x plus 1, there are two terms in the numerator and root x is only one term in the denominator. So we can separate our denominator for both the terms in the numerator. So how to separate this? Right, 1 to 9. If you are writing your denominator separate, it means you will have two different functions. So that two different functions will apply to different integration also. So integration 1 to 9 x upon root x dx plus integral 1 to 9 1 upon root x dx. Okay? So here this x is 1 to 9. This x is this root x, when we shift to the numerator, it becomes x raised to minus half, right? Dx plus 1 to 9. Root x shift to the numerator, it becomes x to the power minus half dx. Okay? So 1 to 9. This x ka power is 1. Base is same, so add the power. 1 minus 1 by 2 is 1 by 2. So it becomes x raised to 1 by 2 dx Now we can see both the terms into integration sign are in the form of x raised to n. So we know the formula of integration of x raised to n. So what is the integration of x raised to n? It is x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. So here your n is 1 by 2. So if you add 1 here, 1 by 2 if you add 1 you will get 3 by 2. So it is x raised to 3 by 2 divided by 3 by 2 and upper limit 1, lower limit. So lower limit 1, upper limit 9. Similarly, x to the power minus half. This means if you add 1, minus half plus 1 is half, right? So how you will write that? X raised to half divided by half. And there, lower limit 1, upper limit 9. This is what we have to calculate now. Now, this 3 by 2 is constant, shift to the numerator, it becomes 2 by 3. Then put upper limit. So upper limit is 9 plus x by 9. So 9 raised to 3 by 2 minus lower limit is 1. 1 raised to 3 by 2. Plus this 1 by 2 is constant, shift to the numerator, it becomes 2 by 1. Now 9. X replaced by 9 minus x replaced by 1. Like this we have to simplify. Okay, now you calculate this. Now it does calculation part. See here. This 2 by 3 constant. Then 9 raised to 3 by 2. How will you write 9 raised to 9 raised to 3 by 2 is nothing but 9 raised to 1 by 2 and its power 3. So 9 raised to 1 by 2 is nothing but 3. 3 by 2 is how much? 27. So 9 raised to 3 by 2 is nothing but 27. So this term has been replaced by 27 minus 1 raised to anything is always 1. So it is 1. You get this bracket plus 2 into what is this? 9 raised to 1 by 2 is root 9. It is 3. 1 raised to anything is 1. So it is 1. So how will you write the final answer? It is 2 by 3. 27 minus 1. 26 plus 3 minus 1, 2. 2 into 2 become 4. Now 3 will not be divisible to 26. So 26 into 2 is how much? 52 by 3 plus 4. Okay? So 3 into 4, 12. 12 plus 52. 12 plus 52 is 64 by 3. This is your final answer. 64 by 3. Okay? Now, let's see the next example. Integral 2 to 3, 1 upon x square plus 5x plus 6. Okay? 1 upon x square plus 5x plus 6. In this example, you can see there is a quadratic equation in the numerator, sorry, in the denominator. Can we split that quadratic equation into factor form? X square plus 5x plus 6. Find two numbers, so product is 6 but their sum is 5. Product is 6 means 3 into 2 is 6 and 3 plus 2 is 5. So your factors are x plus 2 and x plus 3. Okay, like that. Achha, come to the numerator. How will you rearrange the numerator in terms of denominator? 2 to 3. This one. Can we write this one like x plus 3 minus x plus 2? See here. X plus 3 minus x plus 2. This x and minus when applied to x, minus x plus x cancel. Minus when applied to plus 2, you get 3 minus 2 which is 1. So we got our correct numerator. So this term you can write like this. Right? Now you can see there are two brackets and there are two different terms in the numerator and this product term there is only one term in the denominator. So we can separate our denominator for both the terms. So it is 2 by 3. If you write this term and these two terms in the denominator, so x plus 3 gone. So what we left? 1 upon x plus 2 dx. Then write minus, then apply this integration sign also. If you write x plus 2 upon this denominator, x plus 2 will get cancelled. We will left with 1 upon x plus 3 dx like this. Okay. Now we know. Suppose you have 1 by x integration log x. So 1 by x plus 2 integration is log x plus 2, right? So write log x plus 2 and write the lower limit 2, upper limit 3 minus again 1 upon x plus 3 integration log x plus 3 the integration 2 to 3. Okay? If you observe this is in the form of log a minus log b. Okay, so log a minus log b we can write log a by b x by x plus 3. Then common, then lower and upper limit is same, so we can write it once. Okay, 3 and 2. Now upper limit 3 put here, then lower limit 2 put here. So how will you write this? Log, first put upper limit 3. If you put 3 here, what will happen? 3 plus 2, 5. 3 plus 3, 6. So log 5 by 6. Okay, then write minus. Now put lower limit. If you put 2 here, 2 plus 2, 4 divided by 2 plus 3, 5. Log 5 by 6 minus log 4 by 5. Again, this is in the form of log a minus log b, that is log a by b. So a is 5 by 6 and your b is 4 by 5. Okay, so 4 by 5 shift to the numerator, what will you get? 4 by 5 if I shift to the numerator, it becomes 5 by 4. If you simplify it, what will you get? 5 into 5, log 25 by 6 into 4, 24. So your final answer is log 25 by 24. Okay.